Right, I think we're going to get started. I appreciate there might be a few other people that might join us later on, but we've got quite a bit to get through. So just make sure that if everybody can hear me, put a quick message in the comments. That'd be great to know that everybody can hear us. Okay. Afternoon, everybody, and I hope everyone's well. First off, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. My name's Vicky. I'm part of the Autodesk Solutions team here at Quadra, and I'm joined by our technical specialist, Mr. Andy Laycock. Are you okay to say hi, Andy?
Yeah, hi, good to see you guys. Oh, well, not see you, but to have you here.
Okay, please note that you're all in mute. The webinar should take approximately about an hour. Please add any questions you may have into the chat function, and we'll come to these at the end of the webinar. If you can't stay on for the full hour, we will be able to provide you with a recorded version of the webinar, so we won't feel offended if you drop out. Today's session is all about knowledge sharing and alleviating the potential stress of moving from a 2D environment to a 3D one using Revit. So next slide, please. So owing to the nature of what we do as Quadra, we speak to customers at every stage of the AEC workflow, from architects to contractors and engineers. And the one thing we hear very regularly is that companies are struggling with an inability to use 2D data stored in legacy files and use this to create 3D models. As most of you will know, 3D workflows enable you to create, communicate, validate, and manage your design and project changes throughout the design process, meaning there are fewer pitfalls when the first spade finally hits the ground. Companies that made the move from 2D to 3D are experiencing benefits such as faster conceptual design, better and more effective communication, greater flexibility to make critical changes, easier coordination, and fewer defects and less rework. So as I say, this is going to be a 60-minute presentation with opportunity to ask questions at the end of the presentation. So I am now going to hand over to Andy for his technical presentation.
Hello everybody, it's good to have you here. This presentation is based on the Revit Essentials architectural course that we do. So we build this building throughout the structure of the course. We're going to cover some of the aspects, as you can see. We're going to reuse some AutoCAD geometry. We're going to use some of the build creation tools that we have. We're going to work on automatic drawing creation-ish, well, drawing creation from views, scheduling, and looking at some of the visualizations. A little bit about myself. My background is an AEC technician. I've worked in the MEP space for quite a long time in AutoCAD primarily. So I've used AutoCAD for 30 years plus. I've used Revit for about 7 years. I teach AutoCAD, Revit, Plant 3D, AutoCAD Electrical, Navisworks, and when I have to, I get involved with the Inventor side. So it's quite a large portfolio of my products, and I like to help people get the best from the products they're spending their money on. So this is a video that I created give you an outline of how relatively easy it is to go from an AutoCAD 2D drawing multi-level to a fairly substantial building with some of the schedules involved. Please feel free to put any questions in the questions and answers, and we'll do our best to answer them as we go along, or at the end if we sort of group them together. That might be a useful way of doing it. Thank you for your time, and hope you enjoy the webinar.
We're going to look today at the way we can use AutoCAD files to create a background for a Revit file, which helps us move from 2D to 3D. So a quick look at the source information to start with. So within AutoCAD, we have a layout of a hotel. We can see down here that I've placed the base of the hotel, the corner at 0, 0 from a coordinate point of view. That gives us a common point for making sure that everything's aligned up. We could obviously use the grid point A5 in the bottom corner here, but in this case I've set it up to the bottom of the building. Equally, we have the same setup for the typical guest room level, which allows us to make sure everything is lined up throughout the building. So we're going to use these files as our background for our Revit information. So, first of all, we start with a new project. This is our demo file. The demo file has, well, the template file, as you would expect, has some template information within it. In this case I have a floor 1 and a floor 2. It's American standard, but don't let that put you off too much. We have some elevation markers which are placed with our elevations, which relate to other views within the view stack. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my views to show you can see both plan views. Nothing on there yet, obviously. So on floor 1 I'm going to insert the CAD file, which is the lobby area. I'm not interested in any colours, so I'm going to get rid of those by making it black and white, mono. I'm not interested in this view being anywhere else but in this level view, so I'm going to make it linked to the current view only. So when I also link that to origin, that's why I reset the origin on the CAD file. And open that. That's sound. So I'm just going to have a little scroll about with my elevation markers so it looks fine on my piece of paper, as it were. That also looks quite dark, makes it difficult to distinguish it from the Revit elements when I build them. So I'm going to select that link file, and I'm just going to make it half-toned to allow me to see it in a little better format. Floor 2, as I mentioned, the other level is not visible on floor 2 because I've not imported it there. So I'm going to go for my typical guest room plan. The previous settings are kept, so that saves me clicking about too much. Open that, and the same with the graphics override on this particular view. Another thing that I don't personally like is when the whole model gets highlighted when I hover over it. So what I'm able to do is turn off the ability to select pinned objects. If I select it just to show you, there's a push pin marker there, difficult to see, but that locks it in place. It means I can't move it around. Okay, so I'm going to select that option that then stops me selecting the hover. There's 8 floors to this hotel, plus a roof, parapet, basement and a top of footing level. So we have to give it somewhere to work in that respect. So I'm going to go to my south elevation. I can do it by double clicking here or selecting here. So I'll double click there. That takes me to my south elevation, as you can see. I'm going to create multiple levels, but that's not high enough to start with, so I'm going to zoom in here, select this level here and make it 5 meters, 450 mil. That lifts my base level up there for me to make multiple levels above there. With it being a hotel, it's got a nice large foyer area. So I'm going to add some levels. I'm going to use my pick line tool and I'm going to offset by 3,650. I want to make levels, I want to make plans to draw on, so I'm going to go to my make plans, my make view types. I want a ceiling plan for all my levels above here, but I don't want a structural plan, not interested in that for now. The structural guys can deal with that later. So floor plan and ceiling plan. Notice there's no node for ceiling plan at the moment. That's my pitch. It's like my first level. I'm going to make that level floor 3. That renames the corresponding views for me, so I don't have to worry about that there. I can then restart my command, just put in my information again, and then double check my levels. That's cool. This one's going to be my roof level. I'm also then going to put parapet level at the top above here, and I don't want any views relating to this, so I can switch that off here. And escape my command, call this roof. It will ask me to rename my views. I've also got a ceiling level there which I can get rid of because I've got to take that off. And when I select this one, it doesn't ask me to rename views because they're add-on. So I can come back out here now, come to my basement level. I want to create some more levels. So same process again. This is 3 meters. In this case, I don't want a ceiling view. I have a top of footing, and again, no ceiling view. I can rename this now to basement. We've got a clash there from a depth point of view, so if I select my level, I can put a nice little elbow in that, and that's my level setup. So now that we've got the levels in place, I've noticed that there's a couple of ceiling plans missing, my level 1 and level 2 ceiling plan. So I'm just going to insert those really quickly. So they're now in place, and it opens them, the last one it was created. So moving forward, we're going to look at putting the grids in place, because that's how we build buildings. So let's go to our architectural tab, add some grids. Again, use my pick line tool, which is a really powerful tool. I have my underlay here with my grids on, so I'm going to renumber that one to A, or reletter that one to A, and it recognises the alphanumeric sequencing. And do these in numerics. So we can see there we've got the grids in place. If I go to my south elevation again, we'll see the grids cut right the way through the to the top level. So I've added the grids. We are now going to put the columns in place and pick a structural column. As we can see, we're going to work on a height as opposed to a depth. Pick your grids, select those items, and then finish there. We can see that they are in place. A bit difficult to see in this view. If I turn my thick lines on, they're still quite difficult to see, but you can see slightly thicker lines. A better way of doing that now for me to be able to see this is to change my visibility setup, so I can go to shaded. I can then see the columns I need to remove. So I'll select those two, remove them, select that one, remove that, and get rid of these two as well because they're not required. So we have our columns in place. If I go to my default 3D view, you can see when I made the columns, I realised later that I've not put them to the right height, because obviously to floor 2 is no good to me. So I want to change that to go up to the roof level, and as you can see, that gets resized. I may have several different places where these columns are, but if I do that in my view, I can go right click and select all instances in the view. I can then change the top level to the roof, and I can also change the bottom level to top of footing. When I come back into canvas, they will all update. So we're back to where we need to be. So I'll quickly have a quick look at level 2, floor 2, so we can see that the columns are actually in place there, shooting through the whole building. So now we have the columns in place, we need to put the external wall envelope in place. So I'm going to use my architectural wall tool. Good idea to save the project. The usage of the wall we're going to use is going to be the exterior brick on CMU with metal stud. So we're going to use that one. No, we're not. That one there. I've got from floor 1 with a base offset of 0. I'm going to be going up to the parapet. So I'll give me my full height walls around here. So I'm going to again use my pick line tool. Before I choose that, I'm going to tell it how I'm going to draw the lines. I've got I'm going to draw my walls. I've got my external line there. It's difficult to draw to any other line types. I can draw wall center or core center, but I'm going to use my finish face exterior to pick those lines. So when I select this line, you can see there's an offset to the inside. Because I'm on a quite high detail, you can see the different levels, the different layers of the wall. So let's quickly show you that, how the wall's built up. So we've got the full mass, resistance, K values and heating loss calculations built into that for us. So it's important that architecture we use the right type of material. So I'm going to OK that. I'm going to continue with this command. We can see that everything gets chamfered and filleted. For the sharp eyes, and you'll notice when I pick the line, it goes past the line on the outside, but that's because there's a bell cast on the outer of the wall, which I'll show you in a moment. We need to trim and extend these corners. Okay, so a quick 3D look. We've now got our detail there. So there's quite a lot going on this particular wall. We've got CMU on the bottom, we've got bell cast, got some reveals, we've got some brickwork up there, soldier course, and a capstone. So all that detail is in place as part of this particular family. Okay, we then have to put the curtain wall in place. As you can appreciate from drafting, curtain wall can be quite hard work. Again, I'll use my wall command, it's just another wall type. It's going to be an exterior glazing. If I use a curtain wall, it'll be straight, it'll be flat, so use exterior glazing. I use my pick line again. The wall is not going to parapet though, it's going to go to the roof. So I'm going to pick that wall there, that line there, and that line there. And again, I'll have a quick look at the 3D view, see what we're getting. That looks fine to me. We can see that it's going to be stopping at the height of the roof, which is actually going to be useless. We can't connect to the roof, we have to drop that down a little bit, so I'll select that one. And again, show how powerful Revit is. Put a -600 in the top level. I'll do the same for that one and that one. So it drops us just below the roof level. Then I'm going to go to the roof level and put the cap on this roof here, on this wall here. We obviously have a different type of wall. I need to put the underlay on there so we can see the base level below. That's cool. So we've got that special type of wall for the parapet there. So I have with that. Again, that doesn't match up because it goes to the roof because I drew it at the roof level. So I need to go -600. Prove that works. And then we'll just do that and select similar. And make that -600. So we've got our outer envelope in place. I'm going to quickly put these walls in place as well, the generic masonries. This I'm going to use my center line draw. So the binding happens there for us. This one, as we can see, is slightly off alignment with the wall, so I can use my alignment tools to align things back up. Turn the thin lines back on as a preference I have is that. So we can have a quick look at 3D again. I've made a mistake on purpose because these inner walls, these inner core walls need to go to the roof. So I'll select that one there. We can do and change them up to the roof. And there we go. So now we've got our external walls and core in place, we're going to put some internals in. So I'm going to make an office space and a reception area here. So we're going to use an internal 1 hour wall. we're going to go in from the current level up to level 2, but we're going to have a slab at level 2, so I'm going to put a minus offset of 300 in there to allow for that slab. I'm going to track to there and to there, so that gives me my wall alignment. If I want to realign that wall to this face here, which seems appropriate, I'll quickly do that now. And then I'll pull that to meet the column and do the structural detailing then. I want to create the same wall as that. I don't have to worry about remembering what wall I had. I can select the wall and go select similar. Actually create similar. That's that wall done. I'll put some more walls here. Again, new wall command. We go from here to here, here. Pull that wall through there. Do another wall there to there. And this can be, as we say, drag that to there. It'll create all the connections as we can see. That's not what I want a radius corner on there, so I'll go back to a wall command. We don't use a fillet command within Revit, we use the tangential arc within the wall command. So those two, and then give it a dimension of 3 meters. So place that. There's a slight discrepancy sometimes happens here. Oh no, it's fine on this one. But if the wall's the wrong way around, we can switch that so the plasterboard's on the correct side or otherwise. With some more of these walls in place. I want to align this face and this face, which will pull everything in place with it there. Okay. That's the ground floor sorted. Go to the second floor. As we can see, there's quite a lot going on here. And we've got a lot of walls to go on here, so I will
And then I'm going to use my mirror tools, my mirror commands and copy commands to speed up moving these interior walls throughout the rest of the project. Thanks for the note, Vicky. So that's a copy. I'm going to then switch them over, mirror that one again, because they're all based on the same footprint. And we can do a copy, multiple there, and that will terminate all the walls with the structural connections and everything.
Look at the layout 3D.
As soon as I can hear myself again.
One of the joys of Revit is we
Sorry for talking over myself there, guys.
Information. So if I select all that on these walls, remove the columns from the filter, I can then copy that information and I can paste it aligned to selected levels. So 3 through to 8 are all the same information. There we go. So with our gap for the slab, the final things that we created are now selected, ready to be used again at a later date. Just a quick look at level 8 so you can prove what's happened there. I've missed that wall out, so I will go back to here. I will take these walls. That's all I've got, that's cool. I will copy that, paste align selected levels, 3 to 8. OK that, go back to 8, and we can see that I've fixed my problem. So now that we've got our walls in place, and our curtain wall and everything, we're going to start looking at putting some doors in place. So I'm going to start with an external door out here. So we have several doors preloaded in this particular project. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in a large flush door with a vision panel. And make sure my tag on placement is on to allow my tagging to go on there. So I'm going to approach from this side and spin my door by switching my spacebar. That does that for me. I'm going to renumber that at 101 because it's the first door. I'm going to put the next door in here. It tries to align it for me. We can see there it's doing its best to align for me. That's fine. Next sequential number is 102. We're going to have 103 and 104. They're all doors with windows in them. The next thing we're going to do is change that family type to a standard door. That's going to go in here. Another one there. We have a janitor's cupboard, a ladies and gents, and we're going to put a large double door externally there. Okay, just going to check that dimension of that wall there. I could do with that being slightly bigger, so I'm going to make that 300 to round it out nicely. I want that to be in the middle here, so I'm going to use a command set that allows me to put some dimensions in and arrange an EQ, an equal distance. It's nearly there, but that's fine. If I now select that, I can put the EQ in place and then change the style so it gives me the dimensions. Okay, if I then move this wall, that will keep that one in the middle. It's quite a nice little function that's available within Revit there. Okay, we're going to copy this door up and this door up to the level above. So I'm going to Control C both of those. Copy, paste aligned to level 2. Go up to level 2. We don't have any tag in there, so I'm just going to deal with that now. I'm going to put some tagging in. I'll check the number first. So that one's going to be door number 201. This one's going to be 202. Level 2, you see. I'm going to work my way down and put some more doors in. So I'll go back to my door function. Big standard door. Make sure my tag's on. In fact, I'll turn my tag off and show you how quickly it is to tag. So I'm going to go quite close, but not spot on. Not really that bothered about the placement for now. We have a double bifold there. And I need a special type of door, so I need another one of those here. But I need a custom size. That was going to be 600 wide. So I'll create a new one. $6.15. Okay, that. So we've got our door numbers, as you'd appreciate there. We've got 203, 204, 25, 26. Just need to align that down a little bit. And then we need one in the back here. So another double door. Another double door, as I was saying. There. In the back. So that one's now 207.
So at this point, the video speeds up a little bit, so we're not stood here all day.
There we go, so they're all tagged now. I'm going to use a little trick to tag doors in the right order to my level 3. We can see all my walls are in place. I can make that to the shaded environment again so we can see what's in place. So if we go to my level 2 and take that door and copy it and then paste align to levels, level 3. We can see my door there, and that is 233, which is the next sequential number. So make that now 301. And I will then go back to my level 2, take the rest of the doors, copy those, paste align to levels, and go to level 3. And they're all there. We'll now just quickly do the annotation, tag all. Is that one? Okay, so we've now got our sequential numbering as per our other level. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the levels in the same way. area. I'm not interested in any colours, so I'm going to get rid of those by making...
Oops, sorry guys, I've just clicked the wrong bit.
Putting...
I was trying to talk over the high-speed video bit.
So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the levels in the same way. So as we can see now, we've got all our 8 levels, all with our doors on, all the way through. Quick look at the 3D view so we can see all our doors in place. The next thing we're going to do is move on to using the slab commands, putting some floors in. The next project, I'll open another project that will have the basement walls in because we don't need any, and the footings, we don't need to do that for this particular exercise. So here we are with the extra walls placed in the basement, the footing area and the footing walls. So just a quick look between the difference of the previous 3D and the current 3D, so we can see everything's in place there. No major changes, just some more walls. So we're going to now move on to putting slab in place. So I'm going to go to the basement level. We're going to look at putting a slab in situ there. So if we go to the architectural, we'll put a floor in place. Generic concrete for this one. I by default have my pick walls, so I can do that and then do my trim extend corner, which is hiding. There we go. Okay, so when I hit finish there, okay, I have a small wall. There we go. Look. Rocking that. So, finish that one. Yes, I'd like to attach the walls to the floors, so as we can see there within the 3D, we have the basement floor in place. We're going to move on to the second floor next, because the ground floor is taken up by another model. So from here, I've got my layout of my walls and everything, so I'm going to hide these points. The slab's going to take this edge here, so we've got a nice mezzanine area over the foyer. So, new floor. This one's so this time I'm going to use my wall command again to start with. Use my pick line then for this one. We have the balconies here that I want to add into this section. Can now copy that down. It's now giving me an outer perimeter. So when I finish that, oops, missed a bit. Yes, I would like to do that. So as I look at my 3D view now, So my slab in place and it's physically connected to the walls. There, look, with that line. So I can copy that slab. Oops, too many clicks. Select slab, copy, paste align to levels. I can then, as you can see, this is not joined to that wall because it's been placed afterwards, so I would do some joining. So you can now see that they are all now joined to the slab. Cool. We can see there's a lift shaft to go in place here and a shaft area when we use the steps eventually through here. With there being different pitches at different levels, we'll have different stair rises, so we'll have to look into that later. So the next step we're going to do is add the lift shaft in place. We don't work around the lift shaft, we actually put the floor in and then put the shaft in afterwards. As we can see down there, if I make this wall and this wall translucent, we can see the lift shaft in place there. So I'm going to now go to my my floor one. That's where I'm going to want to make it place in this area here. I'm going to remove my background view, my AutoCAD, by hiding the element. I'm going to do the same in level 2 so it's no longer in my way. So I can just see my clear model parts throughout my project. So, as we can see on floor 2, floor 1, I will move into this area here. So I'm going to put a shaft in place. Shaft is just a cutaway through multiple floors, roofs, whatever. I'm going to use my pick line tool. Make sure everything's trimmed up nicely. Nice thing about this tool is we've got some symbolic lines as well, so I can place lines through the lift shaft which will give us an indication of the lift shaft going through with the standard crosshairs. We can see it goes from floor 1 to minus 150, so I need to go deeper than that. I'm going to go minus 500 so to cover any slab that I'm going to go through, and the top constraint is level 8 plus 100mm to cover anything that might get in the way there. So finish that. So now we can see the shaft itself is there, look, with a slight overshoot on level 8. It goes down beyond level 1, so when we put that slab in place we'll have that going on there. And we can see there, we can now see all the way down the lift shaft to the basement level. And we can see there as we move through the different floors, random selections, and we will be able to see the lift shaft working its way through there. So moving forward, I have another model that I'm going to insert into this particular project to save a little bit of work and also to show you how we can amend the slab. So I'm going to go to my Insert tab. I'm going to link a file first, which is the pool house. You can see that's in place there. I can then select it and bind the object. We would normally use linked files to keep the file size down, but in this case I'm going to bind it into the drawing, so that into the project, so that I can use it and show you how to edit the outer boundary. Bit of a sort of 2 for the price of 1 almost. So once that's bound in there, I'll be able to ungroup everything. So now I've got my slab in my project. Quick look at the pool house. So the external pool house has been done for me by somebody else. So I've now got my slab in my project. My pool house is an entity in its own right, so that makes life a little bit easy for amending. So if I come to this slab and I think, oh, it's not particularly great, so I can go back to my view. I can double click on the slab. I can make some nice edits to it. Make it a little bit curvier. I want to put chamfer to there. Maybe move that one. Depends what our ground's like, obviously. And as you can see, we can edit in 2D or 3D. And as you can see, I can also use 5 meters as opposed to 5,000. I'm not attaching this to the wall because it's an in situ, so it's going to go in after the build's gone. Otherwise, it'd link everything in together. So that gives us a nice look at. Just before we do this next bit, I'm just going to give you a quick internal view of the structure. We can see that we've got a nice 3D view in orthographic view, but if I want to have a perspective view on that, I can come to here and have a little look at what we're going to see as we move around in the project. A little bit wider, trying to make a fisheye out of it, but make that into a shaded view or a more realistic view, if your graphics card will handle that. You can then go back to the hidden line view and maybe orbit around a little bit, and then we will, in this case, I'm going to fly back out. Change my offset. So see the whole building. So you see, you can get basically whatever view you want of that building, perspective or otherwise. You can obviously orbit around if you've got some different tools, but this one works quite well in this environment unless you've got a 3D mouse. So that's the new model with the pool house and the slab. You can see the slab has holes in it. This slab has a hole in it there. Look, you can see it's two sections, and that's a special type of concrete for a pool area. So we're going to place a set of stairs in this staircase area, one here. To make life a little bit easier to clear all this up, I'm going to duplicate the view and then get rid of things I don't need. That gives me a nice clean view. I can now put a section through to aid the viewing of this particular bit of the drawing, of the project. I'm also going to, I've also created a 3D stair selection box, so we can section box, so we can see what's happening in the stair well itself. So close that one down. So I'm going to create a staircase. I want to put a landing in at 1200, so I'm going to put an offset in there. So I've got myself a datum to work to. I can then go back to my staircase and my risers. I can align that with that, and then I can move these down a little bit to give me a lead onto the landing. Nice thing about the staircase is it knows obviously what the pitch is between the floors, so it tells me how many risers I need, and if I want to change that, I can do that by sliding the end of the run down. Oops, sorry, my mistake, wrong bit. By sliding the end of the run down, and that will pull this end back and pull that end back, and obviously change the height of the stair landing. If I do that for you, see the landing height change in relation to the pitch of the floor. So I'm going to have 15 for my first rise and the rest for my other rise. I'm going to put my stair guardrail for either side of the unit and finish that. That automatically puts my staircase in place with its handrails. That one's obviously a waste of money, so we're going to put that to being a wall rail. So now we've got, as you can see, a nice staircase. We don't have any slab penetrations yet. This is why we do the staircase first. So I've just noticed there's a slight thing on that, but I'm good with that. So in this section, I can look at the section and I can see I've got one set of stairs. In the more recent releases of Revit, we can do a multi-level staircase quite quickly. We select the staircase, select levels, and I can then just select the remaining levels and finish that off. That then follows the pattern through, and as you can see, it changes the number of risers for each riser, each section, each pitch. So it's dead easy to work with. Now I can concentrate on sorting out my holes in my slab for this slab and this slab, and then moving through, because the pitch is the same from 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 8, I can probably use a shaft through that area there. So that's how quickly we can create a lift shaft with all its component parts that are required within a building. We would obviously put another lift shaft, another stair shaft here in this core, so you've got access, egress and access both ends. So having added these staircase section here and a little bit of balustrade in here to make up the gaps so there's no holes, and sorting out the slab, we've now got our slab changes, our shaft through there, some railings in place around the corners. I've left the upper levels of the railings to do, because I'm going to show you those in a minute. So that's the second lift shaft to the right, so same again, you can see that all the intermediary railings are in place, and up to the 8th floor, where we can see we've capped that off at the end there, so nobody can fall down the stairs, or down the shaft more importantly. So I'm going to go back to my level 2 drawing. I'm going to change my view slightly to make it a little bit easier to read. We need to put obviously a railing around this edge here, and also around the railings here. So we're going to start with the railing detail. I'm going to make sure I've got the correct railing, so we're going to use the balcony guardrail, and I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to use my pick line tool with an offset of 100mm, just to give a nice clearance so they've got something to fix to, the guys who are installing this. Just around the mezzanine spot. I'm going to drag that back a little bit, just so it's not clashing there. May even pull that right back to this point here, and they can put an edge detail on when they come to the fabrication drawings, should they want to. So we can see that we've got a continuous strip. It has to be a continuous strip for this section. Finish that off there. We'll have a quick look in the 3D view to see what we're seeing around there, look. So we can see that that's in place. So back to our level 2 where our balconies are. I'm going to do the same again here. I'm going to place a railing in place. Again with a 100mm offset, it's going to make life a little bit easier for install. Move that back, move that one back. Make sure it terminates at the wall. And again we can see in 3D view the balconies on the back. I can then copy that multiple times. And there we are in 3D. So I'll select that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, that one, that one, and that one. I missed that one. So we've got all the railings that we just created there, look. I'm going to do this in 2 sections because level 3 has got a balustrade at the top of the stairs on each end. I'm going to copy these railings through to level 3, then copy the whole lot through. So I'll go to floor 2, which shows my railings in place. The reason I'm not using these bits is because the pitch changes, so the piece of railing will be different. So I'm going to copy that, paste, align selected levels, number 3. Because that's the most recent thing, we're good. I can now select, if I select this portion here and go select all instances visible in view, I should get all the balcony rails, I should get this selection, and I should, no, I'll pick that one as well, sorry, different type of railing. So now I've got, in my 3D view, I should be able to see that everything's selected through there, and if I go to my interior view there, you can see that the railing level 3 is selected as well. So that's level 3, copy, baseline to levels 4, 5, 6 and 7 because number 8 doesn't have that extra bit at the top. I've already done that bit. You can now go, once it's done that processing, go to level 7. I've got 9 railings as we mentioned before, so I can zoom in here and remove that one because that's not required at level 8. That's 8. That's cool, it just wasn't refreshing. 7. So now I can copy from there, align, paste aligned to level 8, and we should have a fully safe building. Next thing I'm going to do is put a roof on it, and then we should be good to finish. So as we're saying, the last thing we need to do is go to the roof detail, close the hidden views. We can then, at the moment I've got a depth view on there, so if I change my views, my view depth, my view, okay, I've got an underlay of level 8 on there, so I'll get rid of that. Put no underlay on there. Brings me back to my roof detail. I can get rid of my my section lines and my grid lines, so it's a cleaner view. And so now I've got a clean view. We can start our roof command. And make sure I've got my define slot switched off. Here's my walls, connect there, and that should be fairly simple. I can then look at the 3D view again. You can see we're getting a small amount of detail there. Because I've made a mistake there, I didn't check my parameters, but it's no big deal. I've got a minus offset of 600 from some legacy information, so if I put that back to 0, that'll bring the view up. You can also see it's a 400mm thick roof, so we're going to change that roof to steel joist. So that changes that and the detail there of the structural integrities here. We can then, we've pretty much got a finished article there. And let's have a quick look on the home view. Let's hide these. and then we can quick look at the 3D view. So we're good. Just need to put the doorway in the front and some windows in. We'll do the windows next. So the windows start on level 2. I'm going to bring back my underlay that was on there before. If I select the underlay, you can see, it's difficult to see, but you can't see it there. Let me just bring that as a foreground info. We've got some windows there. So they give me the information that I can work with. We've got 4 casement windows there. So puts the window in. I will pick casement. Let's go. I'm going to put one there, one there, one there. So now I've placed these windows, I'm going to just add some dimensions to clean things up a little bit for myself. Like a midline dimension there, that one there. And as I did with the original setup for the doors at the bottom, if you remember a little while ago, that's that double door. I've now EQ'd that distance, so if I select this window now, I can change that to 1 meter and do the same with this one. And then I can, I know they're not in the same place as that, but that's absolutely fine. So I can hide the element. And these ones as well. So that's all good. I can then select one of the windows, right click, select all this is in the view, copy. I've got 3D so you can see this happen. Just going to switch my quality of my view to make life a little easier for my computer. So copy, paste a line to selected levels, 3 to 8. We're done there, that's cool. We have a entrance door here, so I'm going to go to floor 1. I'm going to use a wall within a wall, effectively. So, a wall command, I'm going to put in a storefront. It's going to be to level 2 with minus 2500 mil offset. And I'm going to draw it from here to here. That puts me a curtain wall in, as you can see there. I'm going to go to my south elevation. I'm going to just make some minor edits. Cool. I should then be able to select this window and change that into a door. There we go. From mullions point of view, let's put some mullions on these walls as well, on these big curtain walls as well. So I'm going to select the whole set. So our mullions in place for that view. Let's go back to that 3D view we had a little while ago. So we can see the mullions in place on that one. Again, I'll just drop that down to a shaded view for my computer's benefit. So I can zoom in there and you can see the tessellated wall. Obviously it's not a curved wall because we don't use curved glass. Well, you can, but it'd be quite an expensive choice. So we now have our project with its doors, windows, nice roof on top, slabs, everything through there. So from a schedule of quantities, this is one of the great advantages of using Revit. We can go to the door schedule really quickly. Okay, that we want the level. family and type. And that should do us for now. It gives a list of all the different doors that are available or used in the project. We can edit fields and add other situations like the mark, which is the individual entity. We can have the manufacturer. And all these things are listed from within the project. That could be a basement. That's a basement door one, so we need to fix that one. So I'm going to call that 0, 0. And let's have a look at that door, find it in the model. Next view. Next view. There we go. So we've now found it in the model, which is here. So if I now tag these doors, you can now see that's 30, 37. So if I now re-tag this at as door number 1, and we'll work our way through. Go back to the schedule, we can see they're being renumbered. I can now order the schedule by mark number, because they're now numbered correctly. So I've got all my units there. The reason the door in the storefront isn't got a number is because storefronts are bought as a single entity. So I would then quickly just put a filter on there saying that if the mark is less than 0, oops, wrong way around, filter, that's now cleared that out. We can obviously then go to the schedule as I can with everything else. We can then copy the door schedule, and I can rename this as level 1. And then I can put a filter on there where my level is equal to level 1. This gives me a schedule of my doors. There's loads of scheduling that's available. Obviously, you can pretty much schedule everything that's in the model, and as things change, if I change that to 1001, for instance, and then go back to my model, I can see that's now changed to 1001 because it's just a different render of the same information. And back again. So that's one of the great advantages of using Revit. So all this model information is great, but if you can't build it, we need to have some drawings for it, so we need to create some documents. So I'm going to go into here, I'm going to add a new sheet. I'm going to call it an A1 sheet. I'm going to bring on my floor 1 plan, which is just the building itself, which is there. And again, I can then rename this one to be the correct information, a 1.1. And that information is obviously populated throughout the drawing here. I can rename the project. I can rename the job number. This information is granular throughout the project, so if I create a new sheet again, notice the way that the nomenclature works. It takes on the last number as you'd expect it to. We can then put level 2 on there. I can sort that view out. Go down a little. Bit like an AutoCAD viewport, if you like. If you would prefer to call it second floor, you don't have to change a view here. That obviously represents that view there, look, that view name. So if I select the view itself and give it a different name on sheet and that will represent that way in the drawing itself. So we create documents by adding more sheets, more information, different sheets. We obviously have a section details we could add to sheets. Rename that one. So drop the stair sections in there just really quickly. And for clarity, I may even choose to, you see the alignment happens there quite nicely. I may even choose to put the 3D views of the section box in there to give people an idea what it looks like in a 3D environment. Again, it's a little bit gnarly on this one, but the principle still stands in relation to what we're talking about at the moment. And if I go back to this view here, which you can see is stacked in here, so I'd have to search around my list. I can go to my selection 2, so my section box, go back to my drawing, and that obviously updates directly. Thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this. Any questions, give us a call, or obviously after the webinar we can post questions. I hope you like this, and I hope you gained some information and it allows you to move forward with moving from your 2D environment to your 3D environment, and that you can see the value relating to all the scheduling that's within Revit and the visualized styles and all the information that's farmed from that. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you, Andy. That's brilliant. I've got a question for you. We'll start to take some questions. If anyone has any questions, by all means, please post it in the either the Q&A box or the chat function. But I've got a question. Are there any complications of working with somebody who's working in a 2D environment if you're working in a 3D environment? Is there any kind of crossover issues?
Yeah, so the biggest problem is that it's your interaction back from your 2D to your 3D. So if you want to export from your Revit files your 2D drawings, that's dead easy. You can export that and it goes straight back into AutoCAD and it creates XREFs. So that's no big deal at all that way. But then obviously when you've got your updates coming the other way, if you'd attached it the way I did in this particular example, that could cause problems. But if you do a linked file from the CAD file, it works a little bit like an XREF, so people will be aware of XREFs. So that might be the way forward, but it's about bringing the whole group together is part of this. But yeah, working with 2D and 3D together is great, but the backward compatibility back to 2D can be a little bit more difficult.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I had one other question, which was what sort of training is the best for kind of going from 2D to 3D? Is there a training course that specifically is kind of highlighting those issues and helping with those issues?
Yeah, well, this example I've done in this sort of hour is probably I think it took me in total about 3 or 4 hours to record it in total. But this is effectively about 2 days of the essentials training course that we do for the architectural essentials course. It goes into a lot more depth, obviously, than this sort of skim over the top, and we tend to help people with immediate questions they've got when they're moving through, and obviously then we'll support people to move through from their 2D to 3D environment. It's often best to try and do, instead of doing a job lot change from working in 2D down to 3D, it's often best to do it on a project by project basis, so you can understand it and become more fluid with the software and the way it works. But the interesting thing from my point of view, as somebody who's used AutoCAD for many, many years, is I can probably draw a building quicker, or at least the layout of a building quicker in AutoCAD if I've got my system set up properly. But I can't get all the scheduling, I can't get all the interaction, I can't get all the connectivity between the physical parts on the model to my views. Equally, if I change a door type in my plan view, it's dead easy in a plan view. You've got a couple of radius change, or you might have a dynamic block, which is fine. But you've got to remember to do it in every other view you've got. And that then is where a lot of the time goes if people are working in that environment. It doesn't matter whether it's a building or whether it's anything that's built. That's what BIM stands for. It stands for anything that's built, not just buildings. So whatever environment you're working in, whatever sort of sector, these 3D tools will give you that control that you know very well, that once you've changed it in one place, you've changed it everywhere. The schedule, the elevations, the sections, all the information is rendered from one database. So it's quite a clever, simple in lots of ways, but very, very powerful and very clever system in that way.
Okay, I'm just going to check if there's any more questions. Oh, I've got one that's come in from Martin. How much of what you presented can be produced within Revit LT is the question.
All of it. All that. I believe all that is LT compatible. LT's main problems, or not problems, the LT, the light part of the LT bit, it tends to be things like there's no MEP connectivity, there's no MEP parts in there. We can't build MEP families. There's no electrical connections, ducting connections, that sort of thing. So you don't have that side. You also can't use the true collaboration tools within the LT environment. So you can link files, but you can't collaborate as such. You can't monitor and check other information, which is something that if Martin needs a quick look at that, we can do that offline, obviously, or another time. I realise that over an hour for a webinar is quite a long time. There's an awful lot covered. So yeah, if there's any other on that, Martin, just give us a bell and we'll see what we can do regarding showing you the differences. And if we have a chat offline at some point, a telephone call, maybe this afternoon or tomorrow, whatever's good for you, we can discuss the limitations and what you're going to try to achieve. Because I don't know, Martin, off the top of my head, I don't know what company you work for or what you do, but LT is a pretty powerful bit of kit, in fairness. It's a really good bit of kit.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, we'll probably get in contact with all of you just to get some feedback on the event, and there will be a recording of the event. So if you do have any further questions that you don't necessarily want to ask today, then by all means, we can follow those up with you. I'll give it one last chance for anybody to ask any questions, and then we'll say goodbye, I guess. It doesn't look like there's any more questions coming through. No. Okay, that looks like it is it. So thank you very much for your time today, and you've all stayed with us for the whole thing, which is fabulous. So that's great news, and hopefully you've gained something from it. As I say, we'll probably be in touch just to check how it's gone. But if you do want to get in contact with us, our details are on the screen at the moment, and we look forward to seeing you. Have a good evening, afternoon, etc. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. And I say, if you need any more info, give us a shout. We hope to have another webinar coming through at some point, but I say it's on video this. We've also got a previous webinar on the BIM 360 environment that was probably available in archive. Is that right, Vicky? I don't know how that works at the moment.
Yeah, it's on demand now.
Yeah, so if anyone needs anything like that, give us a shout. We can do that for you and give a link to that. So thank you very much.
Right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye all.